What's up, YouTube? Team Movies here. Since we are pretty much in the Murphy Sons, since he's in the new Netflix film Dolomite Is My Name, which comes to theaters and Netflix in October, he's returning for Coming to America 2. He's also set to return for stand-up. I mean, Eddie Murphy's making a really interesting comeback here. And well deserved. You know, Eddie Murphy, he's the man. So today I decided to just go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Eddie Murphy movies. Because, you know, the guy could prove that he could do...
I don't know. I guess it depends.
You know, the guy could do, like, drama. He could do comedy. I mean, Eddie Murphy's just the man. And I cannot wait to see him come back to stand-up. So with that being said, here's my 10 favorite Eddie Murphy movies. Alright. Coming in at number 10 is going to be the film that got Eddie Murphy an Oscar nomination, and that would be Dreamgirls. Now, lots of people probably add Dreamgirls a little higher. I mean, I like Dreamgirls, but it's not really my top for essential Eddie Murphy film. If I was to do best Eddie Murphy performances, Dreamgirls would probably be a little higher. But if I'm just doing best Murphy movies, Dreamgirls is a little lower here. But it's still a great movie. I mean, it won Jennifer Hudson her Oscar. You even got Beyonce. She was great in this. I mean, probably one of her coolest performances. Got Anika Nani Rose. She was great. Jamie Foxx, Eddie Murphy. You know, like I said, he scored his first ever Oscar nomination for this. And a well-deserving nomination. You know, crazy to believe that this was his first ever Oscar nomination, too, by the way. But Eddie Murphy crushed it. He sang pretty well. I mean, his on-screen chemistry with the other females in this was really great. I mean, if you guys never seen Dreamgirls, it has some great music in it too. It's a really great film. Definitely go check out Dreamgirls if you guys never seen it. And as for Jennifer Hudson, her winning an Oscar for this was well deserved because Jennifer Hudson was also magnificent in this. I mean, everyone in this was magnificent. Alright. Coming in at number 9, I'm going with probably one of his better family movies in years, and that would be Daddy Daycare. I'm not gonna lie, I really quite like Daddy Daycare. You know, I know Daddy Daycare with Eddie Murphy, Jeff Garlin, Steve Zahn. Daddy Daycare was pretty funny. Now, when you get to Daddy Daycare with Cuba Gooding Jr., yeah, that's a different story. But Daddy Daycare, I mean, you got Eddie Murphy who ends up becoming unemployed, and him and his best friend Phil, played by Jeff Garlin, decides to start a daycare, pretty much a daycare for kids who so they can watch other people's kids and all. And you also got their sidekick Marvin, played wonderfully by Steve Zahn, who's also helping with the daycare. Daddy Daycare is great. I mean, you even got Angelica Houston in this. Kevin Neal is also in this. You had Jimmy. You even got Jimmy Bennett, who actually played who ended up dressed up like the Flash in this. I mean, this movie is such a great one, and I mean, I even got lots of Jackson 5 songs stuck in my head. I went to school. Yeah, lots of Jackson 5 songs are in this movie. So yeah, I mean, if you guys never really got a chance to check out Daddy Daycare yet, watch the first one. You don't need to bother with the sequels, because Daddy Daycare with Cuba Gooding Jr. is horrible, and they just also put out a new straight-to DVD one called Granddaddy Daycare with Danny Trejo. I haven't even seen that movie, but that looks horrible. So yeah, the first Daddy Daycare is the best. Alright. Coming in at number 8, I'm going with Tower Heist. Now, Tower Heist with you got the likes of Ben Stiller, Alan Alda, you got who else you got in this? Oh, you got Matthew Broderick, Ben Stiller, Micah Pena, Matthew Broderick. Really great cast. I mean, here you got You've got Ben Still, who plays this character named Josh Koufax, who's like this manager for this New York City's most luxurious building, and with like very well secured residents. And so like one of the notorious residents is Often Shaw, played by Alan Alda, who's like pretty much under house arrest for pretty much for like the death of more than $2 billion from his investors. And so like including Josh and his coworker. So Josh and his coworker decide to pretty much hire this crook named Sly, played by Eddie Murphy, to break into Shaw's home and steal about some interesting cast, about like I think $20 million it was. Tower Heist was directed by Rush Hour director Brett Ratner. He did a great job with this. Tower Heist was I guess it wasn't rated R or anything, but it was kind of but I guess you could say it was like Eddie Murphy's more mature roles, like mature comedy roles in years. Eddie Murphy and Ben Still, like those two dynamic chemistry with one another, outstanding. Eddie Murphy and Ben Still both played off each other well. I like lots of the scenes of this. Not to mention, here's a cool fact: the Thanksgiving Day parade scene that's featured in this movie, I actually went to that same Thanksgiving Day parade. Like no joke. I mean, I think that was pretty cool seeing the Thanksgiving Day parade that I went to in a film like Tower Heist. Like that was pretty cool to watch. But anyway, yeah, Tower Heist is definitely one of the funniest heist movies ever too. I mean, if if you guys never had a chance to check out Tower Heist, go give Tower Heist a go. You won't be disappointed. All right. Now coming in at number 7, I'm going with Trading Places. I mean, you've got Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy in this, and it's where like these wealthy but like bankrupt brothers named the Duke brothers, played by Ralph Bellamy and Don H, end up making a $1 bet over heredity versus environment, and also you got this so they decide to make arrangement for prophesied, and so like you got Eddie Murphy plays a street hustler named Billy Ray Valentine, who's pretty much like this place in the lap of like luxury, and he's also trained for like really for like hustling and stuff. And so you got Dan Aykroyd as this like yuppie named Louis Windstorm the third, who's pretty much like this who's such a disgrace and all, and he ends up he also ends up hiring this prostitute played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who did had a bit of a who actually yeah Jamie Lee Curtis looked great in this, by the way. I'm not going to go into any details, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, Trading Places, like you've got Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. He decides to like trade places with one another. I mean, this is another one of those like so really Eddie Murphy kind of becomes Dan Aykroyd, while Dan Aykroyd becomes Eddie Murphy. I mean, those two, I thought those two were great together, and the movie was directed by John Landis, who worked with Eddie Murphy loads of times. And John Landis, I kind of wish John Landis makes more movies. I've always liked John Landis' work. But yeah, Train Places, it's definitely one of the funniest potential comedies of the 80s. Like, the movie is just really flat out funny. It's pretty raunchy at times. And Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, those two working with each other, was great. I mean, if you guys never seen Train Places by now, give Train Places a go. It's an 80s classic comedy right there. Alright. Coming in at number 6 is 48 Hours. Now, 48 Hours is actually was actually Eddie Murphy's first ever feature film, and in this he teamed up with Nick Nolte. And Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte, those two, they pretty much play like buddy cop. Well, I guess you could say Eddie Murphy's technically not a cop in this. He's more like a he also plays a hustler in this. So Eddie Murphy has had a thing of playing hustlers. But here 40 Hours, starred Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy, and in it, Nick Nolte plays like this grizzly detective named Jack Cates, who's pretty much is like left to no alternative, but like ends up spring. But he ends up teaming up with this fast talking hustler played by Eddie Murphy, and they decide to like they end up trying to track down the people who's responsible for killing Jack's partner and all. And 48 Hours, like those two really work well together. Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy both had really great on-screen chemistry. The movie was also directed by the director of Warriors, Walter Hill. He did a great job at this. This was also at the time when Eddie Murphy was still on SNL, like just got started breaking out on SNL. So the director Walter Hill decided to like give him like his first ever feature with 40 Hours, and what a great acting debut! Like Eddie Murphy was such such a great player in this. And Nick Nolte was great. I mean, if you guys never seen 48 Hours by now, give it a go. I mean, I'm not really all that big with another 48 Hours, okay, but not really all that big with another 48 Hours. But 48 Hours, the original, is hilarious. Definitely go check out 48 Hours if you guys haven't seen it. Alright. Coming in at number 5, I'm going with The Nutty Professor. Now, granted, I'm going with Night Professor 1. I'm not talking about the sequel with Janet Jackson. Oh, God, that one was so terrible. The first Night Professor. Now, this is actually a remake of a Jerry Lewis comic, which I like the Jerry Lewis one, but I'm not going to lie. The one with Eddie Murphy, I slightly prefer that over the original, over the Jerry Lewis one. Now, this is literally one of the rare remakes where the remake is actually better than the original, and that's Night Professor here. I mean, it is cool how Eddie Murphy played like more than one part. He played the role of Sherman Clump. He played the role of Buddy Love. He played the role of the mother, the papa, his brother, Lance Perkins. He played the role of the grandmother. I mean, yeah, Eddie Murphy plays some interesting characters here. And the dinner table scene, I crack up with the dinner table scene all the time. Hercules, Hercules. I mean, Eddie Murphy as the grandmother. He made dressing up as a grandmother great before Tyler Perry came along. Like, I really quite loved him as playing the role of a grandmother. And not to mention, you even had Dave Chappelle in it. Like, my favorite scene has got to be the stand-up comedy scene with Dave Chappelle in it. I mean, Dave Chappelle, like, I believe this was, like, a Dave Chappelle's first ever feature, and Dave Chappelle nailed it in this movie. I thought, like, his, like, parts of his interaction with Eddie Murphy's Buddy Love, or actually more with Buddy Love was great. And not to mention, you even had Jada Pinkett Smith, who by then was married to Will Smith, so she went by the name Jada Pinkett. You also had Larry Miller was in this. He even had Richard Simmons. Like, not even joking. Richard Simmons is actually in this. In the film, like Eddie Murphy plays this like obese scientist named Sherman Clump, who ends up inventing this pretty much this like miraculous weight loss situation where he ends up creating like pretty much like a doppelganger of himself that
everyone knows Porter, right?
That's like 250 pounds like lighter, and so really, Buddy's kind of not that like the character Buddy becomes like more of a dick version of Sherman Clumps. But Eddie Murphy, I mean, I loved when this parts where Buddy Love came on screen was hysterical. Like when he first ends up finding like being by love, was hilarious. I mean, the hamster scenes. Remember the hamster scenes? Like those hamster scenes was a little weird to watch. Yeah, this movie has some really funny memorable moments, and especially the stand-up comedy one is memorable. Yeah, Night Professor is such a great one. Like I said, the first Night Professor is great. When we get to meet the Clumps, with Eddie Murphy, Janet Jackson, yeah, that the Clumps was horrible. But yeah, the original Night Professor is a really great one. All right, coming in at number 4, I'm going with Doctor Dolittle. Now, like the Night Professor, Doctor Dolittle is also a remake of a 1961 with My Fair Lady Dude, Rex Harrison. Now, like the Night Professor, I'm not gonna lie, the remake of Doctor Dolittle with Eddie Murphy in it, I think it's actually another one of the remakes that's better than the original. Doctor Dolittle is great, and unlike Night Professor 2, I thought the sequel for Doctor Dolittle is actually good. Like I quite got a kick out of Doctor Dolittle 2 with Steve Zahn as the voice of Archie the Bear. I mean, who didn't love Doctor Dolittle 2? I know the critics did, but I got a kick out of Doctor Dolittle 2. But the first Doctor Dolittle, I still find to be a little better. I mean, you've got some really great voices. You got Norm Macdonald voicing the dog Lucky. You've got Chris Rock voicing like a hamster. You got the great Ozzie Davis. Albert Brooks voices a tiger here. You even got Gilbert. You even got Gilbert Gottfried is in this. Paul Giamatti. Um, John Leguizamo is in this. I mean, the original Doctor Dolittle is, or I should say, the Eddie Murphy Doctor Dolittle one. It's awesome. It's really funny. It's pretty cute at times. I mean, Eddie Murphy pretty much plays a doctor who ends up having the ability to talk to animals, and the animals actually talk back, which is a little weird if you look at it. Like, this definitely won't happen in real life, but Dr. Dolittle, I could watch literally Dr. Dolittle 1 and 2 over and over again. They are some of the really funniest Eddie Murphy comedies there is. And also, there are like a straight to DVD Dr. Dolittle sequels with Kyla Pratt, but the straight to DVD sequels, or the plot two was actually not like that. But the Dr. Dolittle ones with Eddie Murphy in it, they are great. I mean, if you guys never seen the first two Dr. Dolittle movies, definitely give them a go. I mean, Eddie Murphy at the prime, great. All right, now coming in at number 3 is probably one of his best roles. Number 3 is going to Shrek, where he voices the loudmouth donkey, donkey. Now, I could have probably added the, he also did voice the dragon in Mulan, which, Mulan's okay, but I was never really, like, the world's biggest Mulan guy. But Shrek, on the other hand, I think it's his best anime work. Between the dragon from Mulan, I can't remember the name, I think it's Mayasu or something like that. Between him or Eddie Murphy's donkey character, definitely I prefer the donkey. I mean, donkey is pretty much like the sidekick to Shrek, and Eddie Murphy has been playing this role for like in the film franchise. I mean, he's played the role in Shrek. He's played the role in Shrek 2, 3, and 4. So, and also not to mention he had voiced the character in like video games and even Shrek shorts. I mean, if there are talks about like a Shrek reboot, and I'm hoping they get Eddie Murphy back as a Donkey. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't really see anyone else voicing Donkey other than Shrek, other than Eddie Murphy. I mean, Murphy as a Donkey. Like, Donkey is really Eddie Murphy, really, and such an awesome character. I mean, also, not to mention you got Cameron Diaz was in this. Who else was in this? Oh yeah, John Lithgow. I mean, Shrek. Shrek period is just great. I mean, Shrek. Shrek is life. Who doesn't love Shrek? And Eddie Murphy as the donkey. That was genius casting right there. So if you guys still never really seen the Shrek franchise yet, give it a go. I mean, and not to mention, Donkey ends up marrying and having kids with a dragon. What more can you ask for? All right. Now coming in at number two is another John Landis one, and the sequel for this is coming out next year. My number two pick is going to Coming to America 2. Now, like I said, the sequel is coming out next December, and I cannot wait for the sequel. But Coming to America, you got John Landis directing. Had Eddie Murphy playing multiple roles. You also had Sherry Headley was in this. John Amos, James Earl Jones. You even had Sam Jackson was in this too. I bet lots of people keep getting Samuel Jackson was in this movie. I mean, here you've got Eddie Murphy, who plays the role of Prince Hakeem, who's like this wealthy, who is a prince of this wealthy African country, and he pretty much wants he really wants like a wife who will love him. And so he decides to pretty much travel to anyway, he decides to travel to America to pretty much like meet a. He ends up disguising as a foreign student working at this fast food place, and he ends up like going to New York City to pretty much meet like a wife of his own, and he ends up like falling for this woman named Lisa, played by Sherry Headley, and he wants to like bring her back. Of course, get married with her and bring her back to like his country and all. Coming to America, it's great. Like the barbershop scene. Who they love the barbershop scene in this? Eddie Murphy played loads of characters in this, and Eddie Murphy played multiple characters before Tyler Perry made it cool. So yeah, and the characters Eddie Murphy played in this was great. I mean, Prince Hakeem was of course hilarious. I mean, this was a great fish out of water scenario. It's great. If you guys never had a chance to check out Coming to America by now, give it a go. And next year, part two comes out next year. So yeah, definitely cannot wait to see where part two is gonna take us. All right. Now, the best Eddie Murphy movie of all time is really, 48 Hours was his first feature, but this is actually the movie that really put him on the map for moviegoers. His best work is Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop, it's hilarious. Like, Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley is probably one of the funniest on-screen cops you ever want to see. I mean, crazy to think that Sylvester Stallone was actually going to play originally. Like this movie was actually written for Sylvester Stallone in mind, but they decided to get Eddie Murphy instead, and instead of making it like a gritty action drama, they made it into an action comedy. And Eddie Murphy has of course played Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop 2 and 3. There's still talks about fourth one, but I'll believe that when I see it. I mean, maybe Coming to America 2 comes out and it's a hit with critics, audiences, and all that. Maybe Beverly Hills Cop 4 could happen. Now, I know there was talks about like a TV show of it, but that never really went true. But, well, not to mention the directors of that new Bad Boys for Life movie, they're actually set to direct Beverly Hills Cop 4. So, maybe Bad Boys for Life comes out and it's a hit with Orange Kirks. Maybe that will move Beverly Hills Cop 4 quickly. But, still, Beverly Hills Cop it's it's definitely one of the funniest comedies you'll see in that year. Like, um, you've got Judge Reinhold who played Axel Foley's partner in this. You got the banana in the pipe scene, in the pipe hole scene. Remember the car scene with the banana in it? Uh, you also have the that classic iconic music in it. You know, Eddie Murphy, he is Axel Foley, and it's definitely his best work he's ever done. And yeah, if you guys never had a chance to check out Beverly Hills Cop by now, give it a go. And also, I'm not gonna lie, Beverly Hills Cop 2 and 3, I also quite got kicked out. I know lots of people like poo-poo on Beverly Hills Cop 2 and 3, but I don't care what anyone says. The sequels are actually not all that bad. But they don't beat the original. The original Beverly Hills Cop will and always hold a place in my heart. I just really got kicked out of these movies. And if you guys never seen any of them, give Beverly Hills Cop a go. You definitely will be disappointed. Alright, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. 10, Dreamgirls. 9, Daddy Daycare. 8, Tower Heist. 7, Trading Places. 6, 48 Hours. 5, The Nutty Professor. 4, Dr. Dolittle. 3, Shrek. 2, Coming to America. 1, Beverly Hills Cop. Now, there's loads of other ones I probably could have added. Let me see. Definitely not Norbit. Norbit is, yeah. Definitely not Adventures of Pluto Nash. I mean, crazy to believe how badly Eddie Murphy has gone. Let's see. Definitely not Night Professor 2. Eddie Murphy's Raw is hilarious. Delirious is great. Life with Bernie Mac and Martin Lawrence, that was great. Lots of people like The Golden Child. I'm one of the rare folks who's not really all that big with The Golden Child. Haunted Mansion, which I'm not gonna lie, I quite got a kick out of the Haunted Mansion. I know that lots of people probably say that's Eddie Murphy's worst film, but Haunted Mansion wasn't all that bad. Thousand Words was dumb. Boomerang with Halle Berry was pretty good. Eddie Murphy's directorial debut, Harlem Nights with Richard Pryor, was a good one. Vampires in Brooklyn. Mr. Church, the movie was just okay, but he was great in Mr. Church. Bowfinger with Steve Martin. Definitely not Imagine That. The one with the one with the blanket. That was. There was also I Spy with Owen Wilson. That was not the best. Definitely not Holy Man. The Distinguished Gentleman. Definitely not that. Definitely not Metro. Best Defense with Roger Moore was. Oh no, not Roger Moore. Dudley Moore, I meant to say. And there's also talks about. And I'm not lying. There is literally still talks about Eddie Murphy, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Danny DeVito doing a sequel to Twins tied Triplets. Which, yeah, that sounds cool, but I still don't know if that's really happening. And Showtime with Robert De Niro was great too. I mean, if you guys ever see Showtime, it's a really funny one. Anyway, let me leave to you guys. What are some of your favorite Eddie Murphy movies? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is C Movie signing off.